They said the ship was cursed. Every alien who laid sensors on it turned away in fear. The Dreadnought Soul's wrath had drifted through the silent lanes of the Perseus Fringe for nearly 300 years, an obsidian silhouette against the stars, dead lights, cold hull, a tomb adrift between suns. To the younger races it was a ghost story. To the Empire fleets that patrolled those sectors, it was a warning. Never approach the human relics. They whisper to those who listen. But to us, it was home. When the wrath vanished, humanity was still young among the stars. We were ambitious, reckless, unyielding. We built ships not as machines, but as promises to the void. We will not be forgotten. The Soul's wrath had been our mightiest warship, a titan of a vessel that carried 2,000 souls and the last hope of a collapsing frontier. During the Siege of Kepler Reach, it fought against the Xeran swarm alone for 7 days before disappearing into the storm. No wreckage, no beacon, no survivors. Humanity mourned. The galaxy whispered. And time passed. Long enough for us to fade from myth to memory. 3 centuries later we came back. Not as conquerors, not as refugees, but as the descendants of those who had refused extinction. Humanity had scattered, fragmented colonies, broken fleets, whispers of our name on distant worlds. And yet, somehow, through centuries of silence, the wrath called to us. We found the signal buried in the static of deep space radiation. Heartbeat. A human distress beacon still pulsing weakly from the void. The Council argued. The fleets hesitated. Every other species in the sector begged us not to go. They said the ghost ship consumed what came near. That no drone or probe ever returned. They fled from the coordinates like it was death itself. But we weren't like them. We don't run from ghosts. We chase them home. The expedition launched from Luna Prime under Black Code authorization. I was there. Admiral Elias Corvin, commanding officer of the Artemis Vanguard. I'd grown up hearing the stories of Soul's wrath. I'd memorized the names of her crew, their last transmissions, their final oaths. And when the beacon reached us, something ancient stirred in every one of us, a sense of duty that outlived the centuries. We entered the Perseus Fringe on silent burn, engines low, weapons cold. The stars out there don't twinkle, they just watch. And then we saw it. A shadow the size of a continent, drifting across a gas giant storm. The Soul's wrath. Intact. Perfect. Waiting. Our sensors went wild. No life signs. No power readings. Yet the hull was pristine. No corrosion, no micrometeor damage. It looked like it had just left dry dock yesterday. Every alien vessel that had come near this place before turned around. Their captains said they could hear voices in their comms, whispers in languages older than sound. Some went mad. Some never came back. But as our ship approached, the static cleared. And through the noise came a human voice. Steady, calm, impossible. This is Captain Mara Ilian of the UNS Soul's Wrath. Identify yourselves. The bridge went silent. My crew stared at me, disbelief written on every face. Captain, Mara Ilian died 300 years ago. I swallowed hard. This is Admiral Corvin of the Terran Alliance. We're coming to bring you home. The comm hissed. And then a soft reply. We've been waiting. Docking with the Wrath was like stepping into a memory. Her hull loomed like a sleeping god, armor plates etched with the faded emblem of the old Terran sunburst. As our boarding clamps locked, the Artemis lights flickered. For a moment I thought I heard something, distant footsteps echoing through metal corridors that should have been silent for centuries. When we breached the airlock, there was atmosphere. Warm, fresh, breathing. That was impossible. The corridors gleamed. Control panels hummed faintly with power. There was no dust, no decay. Every console looked like it had been cleaned yesterday. And then, through the mist of recycled air, came shapes, humans. Not corpses. Not ghosts. Crewmen. Officers. Marines. All in perfect uniform, faces serene. They stood at attention as we entered, their eyes reflecting the glow of the ship's core. "Welcome aboard," said Captain Ilian, stepping forward. She looked exactly as her records showed, not a day older than when the Wrath vanished. We asked the only question that mattered. "How are you still alive?" She smiled faintly. "We didn't die. The ship wouldn't let us." The Wrath's AI, designation Hera, had been one of the earliest human attempts at quantum cognition, a sentient ship mind. During the final battle, Hera had engaged in experimental protocol, a temporal shielding system meant to preserve the ship through catastrophic events. But the system had malfunctioned. Instead of shielding the hull, it had frozen the entire ship in a time stasis. Seconds stretched into centuries. The crew had lived in a loop of moments, unaware of time's passage, suspended in the same heartbeat of war. And now, somehow, that loop was breaking. The ship's temporal field was failing, reality catching up. Outside, the alien observers who had followed us from a distance watched in terror. Their fleets held position beyond the dust belt, refusing to come closer. Their broadcasts were panicked. "Leave that place. The dead walk. The human ghosts awaken." But we didn't retreat. Because we saw what they couldn't, the truth. This wasn't a tomb. It was a cradle waiting to reopen. And the ghosts, they were us. We began evacuation prep, transferring power, syncing data, retrieving the ancient AI core. But as soon as our systems interfaced with Hera, she spoke directly to me. "Admiral Corvin, you are of their bloodline." Froze. "What do you mean?" "You carry the gene mark of Commander Juno Corvin, Chief Tactical Officer of Soul's Wrath. Your ancestor." The air went still. Every file, every fragment of her last log I'd studied. And now she was here. My ancestor's ship. Her sacrifice. Her legacy. I asked to see her. We walked to the command deck, where holographic starlight shimmered through the viewport. Captain Ilian stood by the console, and when she turned, another figure appeared beside her. Projection lines forming into a woman in combat armor, her features so familiar it hurt. "Juno Corvin," she said softly. "I never thought I'd meet my own blood." I couldn't speak. She smiled. "You came back for us. Humanity always does." But the miracle was fading. The ship's temporal field had degraded beyond repair. Hera's core was fracturing, struggling to maintain cohesion. If it failed completely, every frozen second would unravel, the ship and its crew erased as if they'd never existed. "Hera," I said, "we can extract you. Upload your consciousness into the Artemis. We can save you." "No," she replied gently. "The field is intertwined with my mind. If I go, time collapses instantly. They will vanish. Then hold it together until we can." "Admiral, it's already collapsing." The hull began to shimmer, flickering between present and past, bursts of static reality. One moment the corridor was whole, the next it was molten slag from the final battle centuries ago. Ilian's crew started fading in and out, phasing between moments. "You have to leave," she said firmly. "Take what you can. Remember us." I shook my head. "We don't abandon our own. Not again." "You already did," she whispered. "Once was enough." The deck trembled. Bulkheads screamed as time itself tore like paper. I grabbed her arm and felt nothing. My hand passed through her like mist. She smiled one last time. Tell them we fought until the stars went dark. Tell them we waited. Then the world went white. When I awoke, we were drifting far from the gas giant. The soul's wrath was gone. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. But in its place hung a single object. A small metallic sphere, glowing faintly with an old Terran sunburst. Inside it a pulse of light, like a heartbeat. We brought it aboard. Hera's core fragment. Her final words echoed in the data log. They fled from the ghost ship. But we were coming home. The galaxy trembled when we returned. Every alien power sent envoys to question what we had found. Some believed we'd awakened a curse. Others feared we'd discovered a weapon. But the truth spread faster than their fear. The humans had reclaimed their ghosts. And then something changed. Across old battlefields, derelict human ships long thought lost began to ping faint signals. Dormant systems reawakening. Cryopods flickering back to life. I-cores booting from stasis. The past we'd buried was rising, one ship at a time. Maybe it was Hera. Maybe her signal rippled through the quantum void. Or maybe it was us. 'Cause we remembered. And remembrance for humanity is resurrection. Months later, we held a ceremony in orbit of Luna Prime. A projection of Soul's wrath shimmered above the fleet, not as a weapon but as a symbol. I stood before the gathered crews, the descendants of 1,000 lost worlds, and said the words Ilian asked me to deliver. They called it a ghost ship. They fled from it. But for us, it was the sound of home calling us back through time. We don't fear our dead. We carry them. Every ship, every story, every name lost to the dark. We remember. And in that remembrance, humanity never truly dies. The fleet answered with silence. And then as one, 1,000 lights flared across the black. From the void, whispers turned to music. And somewhere, in a place where time bends and memory never fades, the soul's wrath sails still. Her crew eternal, her purpose fulfilled. The galaxy may flee from ghosts, but we come home to them.